is what Europe does. America, of course, is the most important state in the economy, but most of the Russian money is believed to lie in Europe. So all eyes now on Brussels, I would say.
Can you talk to us a bit about the legality of such a move? Would this even be legal when it comes to international financial law, for instance?
This is a question, of course, that international lawyers have been looking at closely. And I believe, and there are some very, very powerful legal minds out there that take the view that the doctrine, the established international legal doctrine of state countermeasure, would provide a secure basis for making such a seizure legal. And this stipulates that in the event of a grave violation of international law, which clearly Russia has committed, unprovoked invasion of Ukraine, then such a response would be justified. Now, clearly, it's important to set the bar high. You wouldn't want countries using this as a precedent all the time, but if the precedent is constructed right, then I believe there is a strong and legitimate case. And it's a little ironic, to say the least, that Russia complains about that this would violate international law, where it's Russia's own violent and unprovoked attack and the security threat is presented to Europe creates illegal invasion that has created the situation in the first place.
But being that as it may, could Russia use the same financial legal precedent to retaliate in kind to these kinds of seizures? Because apparently Russia has drawn up a list of Western assets it would seize. Do you think this is merely a threat or a very likely possibility?
Well, 2 points here. Firstly, Russia is not in a position to make an analogous response because countries don't keep, other countries, Western countries, don't keep their assets in Russian banking systems. But the second point is, if we look at private assets, this is the focus of potential Russian retaliation, that Western private companies have assets and Russia could simply nationalize them. Russia has already begun to do that. In a number of cases, it is now simply seizing Western assets and, in many cases, giving them to people who are close to the Kremlin. This has happened to Uniper, it's happened to Carlsberg, it is happening to other companies as well. So it's not a theoretical possibility of retaliation. Russia is already preemptively seizing assets and in that way too showing its contempt for private property, I'm afraid.
Seizing assets in the Western world, has anything like this been done before?
It's important to make the point that these aren't private assets. There's a separate debate about whether and to what extent Western authorities should go after oligarch yachts, oligarch-owned apartments and houses and so on. We're not talking about private property. These are the assets of the Russian state itself. Again, lawyers argue about this. There are some limited precedents. But even if there aren't, the point is international law regularly evolves. And it's important to look at the situation that we face now in the round. And if there are not strong precedents, then create one. Because we've got a situation now where Russia presents an existential threat to Ukraine and by extension to Europe. How can it be that the West can provide weapons to Ukraine that kill Russian soldiers, yet cannot allow itself to seize Russian government money and use that for the same purposes?